Hi everybody, it's Cindy at Upcycle Design Lab. Today I'm in my garage because I'm going to be doing sort of a messy job, but I'm actually pretty excited about it. We've owned this home for about 20 years and we've done plenty of painting and repainting, but the one thing I've always hated doing, and I honestly a lot of times just skipped the step, was removing the layer of paint before I repainted something, because I don't like using this chemical stripper. For one thing, if you run out of it, you have to go get more. But the worst part is that it's just full of chemicals and it leaves you with this sort of painty, goopy stuff that you have to throw away. And they want you to wear chemical resistant gloves and splash goggles and all sorts of stuff that makes it seem a little bit scary and unsafe. The other thing is, if you start, if you apply it, you have to make sure that you strip it all off. This one only takes 15 minutes, but I've always just liked using this stuff. So I finally got a heat gun, and I just bought one of the cheapest ones available. I think this maybe was, I don't know, less than $20 for sure. It's just got 2 heat settings. I'm only going to use the lowest heat setting, but I actually find stripping paint a little bit zen now, which sounds crazy, but I really like it because you can stop whenever you want. You don't have to worry about a lot of cleanup. You have just this sort of dry paint crumbles when you're done. And you certainly don't have to worry about running out of it. You can come back and turn the heat gun back on and you're ready to roll and get some more paint off. The project I'm working on is just a very plain dresser, and I'm just going to be stripping one of the dresser drawers today. It's a nice flat surface to work on and great for a beginner like myself. I'm not going to talk a lot about safety. I'm assuming that you're going to follow the instructions on your heat gun as far as ventilation and protection. Obviously the heat gun gets very hot, so you do want to use some kind of glove or something on your hand that you're scraping with, because the scraper will tend to get pretty hot. As I mentioned before, I'm using the low setting on my heat gun, which is 572 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see I'm holding it about 1 inch away from the paint, and then once it starts to bubble, it's ready to scrape. I bought these 2 dressers that I'm trying to refinish at the flea market, so I have no idea how much paint's on there. This first layer is the orange, and it appears that there's another layer underneath. Another reason I prefer the heat gun over the chemicals is just that you can actually direct the heat gun exactly where you want it. So if you miss a piece of paint because you didn't put enough heat there, it's easy to go back to that and just get that paint off. Whereas if you're using a chemical paint remover, you have to go back and apply more of that remover, wait for it to do its thing, and then go back and scrape again and hope that you can get all the paint off. You can see here that I'm using mismatched gloves. The glove on my right hand is my heat resistant glove that actually came with my FuseWorks microwave kiln. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen these gloves in a couple of different jewelry tutorials, but it actually came in handy for this project as well. You don't want to get the scraper right under the heat gun, but you are working close together, and so the metal part of the scraper does get a little bit hot. This process does take some time. Stripping this one dresser drawer did take a little over an hour, partly because there are 2 layers of paint here and I had to go back over the whole piece once the orange layer was removed. This is the dresser after I've removed the second layer of paint, and now I'm just going over it lightly with a piece of sandpaper and then following that up with some steel wool. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do to refinish these two dressers, but I have a lot of paint left to remove, so I've got some time to think about it. Alright, you may be wondering why you're looking at a weed patch, but this is my backyard and I generally lose the battle to the weeds, but I do try to stay on top of it as much as I can. Once again, I try to not use chemicals. I don't like to do that because we have pets in our backyard. And I heard that I could use boiling water to kill weeds. These are big-leafed weeds that are really hard to pull out from between the flagstone. And as you can see, they've gotten gigantic and out of control. So I have used water in the past, but you have to wait for it to boil, and it's just a very time-consuming process. So I thought the other day when I had my heat gun out, why not try it on the weeds? And it turns out it's not an original idea. There are other people that have done it, but it does take a little while, but it works really well, and it is certainly chemical free. So it is now added to my arsenal of things to use against the weeds in my yard. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my blog at www.upcycledesignlab.com.